Thank you for sharing your day with me. This is AfroEconomics with Bryan, and today's topic is break every chain, right? I should have had one. I should have had one. If I was not a financial advisor all my life and I was like something more creative, then maybe I would have had a chain. I mean, how hard could that have been? Very hard. Because like even my bicycle lock doesn't have a chain in it anymore. Where did the chains go, right? But you can easily find, I know Miss Greenwich, it's easy to find a picture of a big chain, but it's not as easy as to have one, to just have one. Who really has one? I used to have one when I had a great big dog, but that is only a visual representation of something that we really want to do anyway. The chain has absolutely nothing to do with it, but we just feel like there's something that we're attached to when we have these debts that are pulling on us. That look, there's so many articles. Like I found this article, and I want to see if y'all agree. Now, ask me any question right now that you have about debt. Put it on the comment area, whatever. I promise I will respond to you. But those of you who are on the webinar, that have registered at AfroEconomics events, or that are members of AfroEconomics and are participating right now, and are both, right? You've done both, that you can definitely ask me any specific question, what you want to make sure that we get out of these minutes that we share together. So ways that life is better when you have no debt, right? When you have the freedom, look, because it's hard for me to imagine, but there's actually people who like to work less. I mean, what is wrong with them? Look, I get mad when I can't work as much as I want to, right? But when you don't have debt, you can work less. And I must tell you, when I surprisingly, unexpectedly became a single parent, it forced me to actually make a decision between, am I going to continue to work like this, or am I going to focus on raising my child? So for a couple of years, she can't even remember that she was with me every day at the office, and I had a full-time nanny. Look, the full-time nanny, and I worked so much I had to have a part-time nanny. I was spending like $70,000. I'm not even exaggerating. Maybe it's something, at least $50,000 of just childcare expenses to make sure. And then they would come in, and then when somebody's coming in, it's even more expensive. So it made me realize that if I wanted to work less, as she was getting older, I wanted to be the one that was raising my child. And a lot of you who are parents or have been parents, or once a parent, you're always a parent, or even could be your marriage, whatever, your life changes and you go, in order for this to work, I'm going to have to focus on it. So I had to change that I had to work less. And it's so true that what it says, that if you have less debt, you can work less. So I had to purposely use a couple of years to phase out of debt, because I wanted to not have to work all the time. So that, because of that, and it's still the case now, even though she's in high school, she needs me more than ever. So because I made a commitment to keep my debts low, because it's enough. We have enough with the daily expenses. So my efforts are dedicated to trying to take care of expenses. Imagine if you kind of add on, and that's what I was going through, before, you're adding on debt to that. I had 3 or 4 cars and all these different, things, and it's just me and a little baby. So you don't need it. But I had convinced myself that I needed all those things. A great big commercial property and all of that. I had to totally rephase, even to the point where it was like I was spending $20,000 a year for kindergarten. And at first grade, $20,000, that's $40,000. That is outrageous. But when you are stuck in a particular mindset, you have to realize that if you want to spend more time with your family, or if you want to take care of your health, and that became a really a very important extreme for me, because I feel that I have to protect my health because your child is your example for them. So when I wasn't healthy or I wasn't being careful, I wasn't being careful with what she was eating either. So we have to realize that our habits, even with debt, go into the mindset of our children. And they're talking now about that horrible incident in Las Vegas and that horrible man. But we have to even imagine his pain that he was in. But now they're connecting it to some behavior from his father. So even if things aren't as obvious to us, like we don't want to make it true. We don't want to think that we created that. But if you have some children in their 20s that are struggling with priorities out of line, most likely they got it from you. I'm not even going to say someone close to them. I'm going to say you, because you're responsible enough to be on the line. So we have to say that we want their life to be better. We have to make sure that we're showing them what priorities should be, and showing yourself as you age that my priority has to be that I have to take care of myself. And so when you work less, what are you going to do with that time? Now, a lot of people work less, and that causes them to go into debt, because they have that free time. So I say to them, you're going to have to work more, or spend less money, correct? It's amazing. There's this whole mentality of, I want everything, but I don't want to have to work to do it. Well, if you want to have everything, then you're going to have to work all the time in order to take care of it, or you're going to accumulate a whole lot of debt, and it's going to ruin your wealth. So if you don't have a lot of debt, you can retire, right? People have to put off retirement, most of them, not because they love what they're doing. I hope, God willing, I can work until I'm 100, but it's my thing. This is my thing. I'm living my dream every day, So, but most of you, if you're going in and clocking in for someone else, that's not your goal, to be clocking in for them. Asking them when you can take a break, when you can get up to urinate, when you can get a day off, when you can go see your grandchildren, when you can't, if that's not your goal at 80 years old, then you need to make sure that you have a conscious effort, that you're making a conscious effort to get rid of the debt so that you can retire while you're still young and healthy, right? When you are debt free, you'll become a smarter spender, because when you have a commitment to what I have, refusetobebroke.com, my favorite web name that goes to AfroEconomics.com, but refuse2bebroke.com, I consistently keep in the back of my mind. And the biggest thing that will bring you into being broke is debt, right? So if you don't have any of that dumb debt, because there is some debt. Now, don't get me confused, because one of our members, that out of Vegas, he said, now, hey, there is, strategic ways to use debt. Now, remember, go and look, y'all go back and look at the video that I have, the good debt versus bad debt, There's some good debt, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about this debt that will stop you from being able to purchase the good debt, or to even be approved. So you want to, start a business and you want to have a business loan. Well, if you're trying to get that business loan because you need to have that particular truck or that particular equipment, to operate your business, then you have to make sure that your debt is okay in order to get in the good debt, because that good debt generates income for you. Now, the good debt is things that increase in value, and on the best side are debts that create income for you. So if you're going into debt in order to take care of your business, that's because that's a debt that's generating income for you, like buying a rental property. So if you look at it that way, is your residential property really a good debt? Even though the government is constantly telling you, that you should, that there are people who actually, that residence does become a wealth builder for them. But if you have a property that is consistently generating income for you, then it's not as much a debt as it is an investment that is generating income for you. So we have to be careful when we go into a residential debt that doesn't generate any asset, anything good for you. Like if there was a more cost-effective way, but you had to buy the biggest residential house in the world. That's why you see these super mega millionaires who have to file bankruptcy because they couldn't sell that palace that they built in Hollywood. So that particular debt deemed them as negative net worth. So they were able to actually file bankruptcy because nobody wanted to build that palace that they bought when they felt like working all the time. So that's residential. Now, if that was a commercial building, they might have been able to actually use that to avoid being broke, because they could have had a whole bunch of other businesses in there and a lot of different sources of income. But when we're talking about a residential mansion, how much income can they get from it, except for Hugh Hefner makes a lot of money off that mansion. So and I think he passed away, but it depends, right? But that becomes a business, not just a residential property again. So, because the government helps you pay off and write off debt that is associated with business a lot better than the debt that you can write off for the residential property, right? Because the majority of middle-class Americans aren't even itemizing their tax return. We talked about this last week. So you're thinking, I'm gonna buy this great big house so that I'm gonna write it off. Now you keep being told that you're gonna be able to write it off, but when is the last time you itemized your tax return? So if you were a member and I'm sitting down with you and you're talking about doing this, that's going to put you increase your debt hugely. I'm going to say, well, all that interest that you're going to be paying, is really, you're not going to be able to write it off any more than what you're already writing off, because you're taking the standard deduction. And then they might be, really shocked because they really never thought about it. So you have to have an understanding. So members meeting tomorrow is about year-end tax planning and looking at things like that. Because every year you're like taking your mortgage statement and it's saying you paid this much interest, right? And you're giving it to your tax preparer. You're thinking that I'm actually writing that off, but no, they're just taking it. And then they put it in and then it says, oh, itemized deduction, and the computer the computer says, oh, their itemized deductions aren't bigger than this standard deduction that they get, so boom, but it's in there, so you think it's really counted, but it didn't. So be careful with what we consider an important debt. You can buy it, but make sure it's manageable. So if you buy and it's actually cheaper than what you could if you finance it and go into debt, because it's cheaper, it's a less expensive, more cost-effective way for you to live, then it could be worth your while to go into that debt. So you will, being debt-free allows you to not worry as much. Like I found this blog, and it was talking about how does debt affect your mental health. And it said that, and they were going really about student loans, and they were saying the average student loan borrower carries $48,000 worth of student loan debt, and the average household carries more than $15,000 in credit card debt. So it's safe to assume that the average consumer struggles with debt-induced anxiety. So that is sad. And when I talk to, and more I've run into this situation where people are really worried about their debt. A lady came in one day And there was absolutely no way. She had $200,000 of school loan debt, and she was in her 60s and just beginning to qualify for Social Security. And I was explaining to her that they're going to start taking that loan, that debt from your Social Security, because billions of dollars for school loan debt is being taken from Social Security payments. So there are people whose lifestyle, I had a lady who had worked for years in corporate America, retired, had co-signed for her grandson's school loan. They started taking her money from her Social Security, so much so that she had to move in with the father of the grandson because the father wouldn't make the payment and she couldn't pay all her bills and pay that school loan. So she had to give up her actual residence. And that was sad, but that she had co-signed. So we have to be very careful, definitely, about creating anxiety for yourself and you're co-signing on other people's debt. I mean, that's really sad, right? You're talking about some stress, but I have heard that. I've had clients who had co-signed for their niece and nephews and they will not pay them back. You imagine how stressful that is at Christmas time? So indeed, there's even research that shows, when I was doing a credit card discussion, I found that shows that people with lower credit scores are more likely to have a cardiac disease. This is sad. And then as a Black person, the research is out there now, y'all. As a Black person, there was a study done. I think they did it out of St. Louis on Black. Say, just Google like Black credit study in St. Louis. And it said that when they looked at how Black people were treated for the same amount of debt as a white citizen, that a Black person was more likely to get sued about credit card debt and these small type of debts that we think about. They were more likely to be brought to court for the same offense that the white person indebted would not have been taken into court for. They were suing us more often, probably because we're less likely to have a lawyer. Like it's not even like that. I don't think that they're even thinking about it. They just do it based on zip code. So you got this particular zip code that every time you go to court, you put this in the computer. It's all algorithms now. So you got this zip code. It's put in the computer. You're left that the business says, well, in this zip code, when we go to court, we win. Because judgments last for years. So if they win a judgment against you, they can go every time you get a job, they can come get it, this and this and da. And then they look at the other zip code that might be dominated with white people. And when they go to that zip code, they're more likely to get a lawyer and we don't win, and they make them set up payment schedules and blah, blah, blah. So they go for the low lying fruit. They go, and it's right after us, and they go boom, 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 and they collect. It's the difference between so that's all in the computer. It's all in the computer. That's everything. Insurance, like when your zip code is put in there, your rate is different if you live in a zip code that is less likely to have theft. That's why we have to avoid stealing in any neighborhood, but we steal from each other right in our own neighborhoods. And then you call the police, then it's increasing your rate. It's costing you more. Then we're more likely to be in debt because it's costing us more to live, and we need help, and we're trying to keep up with looking like you don't need help. So the appearance of things dominates the reality of it, that you can't afford to get into debt. Like that has become, a cycle for us. But AfroEconomics is shutting all that down. Not gonna happen. We don't have to impress anybody. We don't have to. That somebody out there that thinks my shirt is cheap, you know what I mean? That's on you. You know what I'm saying? Don't like that. That's on you. But we have to realize that we don't have to impress anybody anymore. We just got to make sure that we get out of the dumb debt. No more dumb debt. We're breaking every chain. We're breaking everyone. That we also, bad debt affects our lifestyle because it's making you pay more when you borrow. Having the debt problems makes you have to pay. Somebody can buy the same car at 6%, so, lenders should love, a community that's being treated this way, because a person with a higher credit score, they make more money off us. So that's the horrible thing about it. So we have to make a commitment to having higher credit scores and lower debt. We have to do this because it's going to help all of us. It's going to change the entire perception of what they see when they think of a Black borrower coming in. And we also have to be more intelligent and realize when you have good debt, good credit, and when you don't. See, a lot of they'll tell us, well, you have some credit challenges and you're looking at a 700. You're like, what? There's nothing wrong. And then you talk to me and I go, no way. They should not be charging you that interest rate with a 700 credit score. But when JB Bryan Financial Group, the home of AfroEconomics, used to do mortgages, and I was helping the clients get mortgages, I was able to see how much leg room you have. And I have clients today, now as much as interest rates have gone down, I have clients today still in that loan because I got them in at such a good rate that even with these rates going down, that it hasn't been cost effective for them to switch out because their rate is still good. That's what a difference it makes with having good debt. Like, my clients dominate with good debt. I wonder, I have to just do a study about what their credit scores are. And that's why the membership is so important, because the more you're around people with these good habits, the more that it will affect your life. I know that if I did not have you all to keep me straight, I don't think that my life would be so productive, because you are really who you are around. So my entire career has been around people who are at the end of their career, and I get to see what works, what doesn't work. I see that if you do the right thing long enough, you will come out on top, So we have to make a conscious effort. I think sometimes you just get defeated, and most of you that get defeated are way too young to be defeated. Way too young. There's no time for that. You got to stay the course. I've got clients who have 4 or 5 kids and they had to raise them by themselves and didn't get any help. And then all of a sudden they get their 60s and the kids are grown and they start getting child support. I'm not lying. Child support from his Social Security. You know what I'm saying? So you just don't know. You do right long enough, it will pay off. I just love to see where people stay the course. You have to stay the course. You have to stay it. So let's look at some other. So when you're debt free, and that's what we're going to do it. That's why you should. If it's important to you to become debt free, if you join, when you join, first thing that we will do is get you to run your credit score, your credit report, and let's break it down. We got to look at it. We got to get it done. You got to see what's going on. If it's important to you, then that's what you say. Each member that is a member, there's something else. Everybody's working on something different because it's your financial plan. It's your financial goals. These videos are for the general public, but members, if that's important to you, now we got to start. You want to be debt free in 2018, you got to start today. Whatever you want to change, that's why we're having on Friday the workshop about tax attack. Check out the podcast on tax attack. Click podcast on the website. But we have to do it now. January is way too late. Way too late. Tax now. So the key advantages to being and breaking every chain and being debt free includes having a higher quality of life because you got less stress, that you're going to have more financial choices. You don't have the debt and you can say, wow, I lost my job yesterday, but I could start a business or I can take some time off, because I have it. But having the debts taken care of gives you options, definitely. And it allows you to talk to me about investments. We get that stuff knocked out, then all of a sudden you're looking at, oh, I can put more into my 401k. What should I put it in, JB? And then I say, oh, dang, I don't have that bill anymore. I can put another $300 a month into my retirement account. You said if you would do $300 after taxes, then you really could save $400 before taxes, right? So very close to it. So that's what we got to think about, that if we reduce debt, we can definitely save and invest more. And people go, oh my goodness, every time I got a savings account, and every time I save a little bit, I go back and I get it. That's because of debt. Credit card balances are because of living beyond your means. No ifs, ands, buts about it. That's all it means. That you can't afford, for all that stuff that you got on there, you can't afford to pay for it. So that it allows you to take advantage of investment opportunities. Getting rid of the bad debt allows you to actually get into some debts that could benefit you. And then, and because we know that it causes stress, you reducing your debt will actually increase your health. I know I lost like 50 pounds when I decided I wasn't carrying that debt load anymore. So because what? I didn't have to worry that I wasn't going to eat if I took, an extra hour out of my day to go and exercise, So once you make that commitment that I got to get this stuff paid off and I got to relax about it, you can't, there's absolutely no reason to worry about it unless you're doing nothing about it, But if you want to make a change, if you want things to get better, you should definitely take advantage of some opportunities of getting on a team. Allow me to assist you. Allow me to help you. I believe that being debt-free gives us a peace and a comfort and a joy. You don't even have to get debt-free. Just knowing that you're moving it down. The self-confidence that it will give you, because that you'll say, well, you know what? I don't have to impress anybody anymore. I just can't do that. Once I started learning I can't do that. No, that's not important to me. That, this is important to me. That you set priorities, you'll be able to have what you really want. But set priorities. Going to debt comes from wanting everything or feeling like you have to have everything. But once you set priorities, just focus on those. Is this in your priorities? Nope, don't do it. Is that something you have to have right now? Nope, don't do it. I got a whole setting that I want. I want a rooftop full of furniture. Well, I refuse to finance it. And I refuse to put anything on it that is not what I want. I refuse to settle. So I said, what you do? What do? You save. I don't have to. I know at some point, I'm sure people say it like, is she ever going to put something out there? Is she ever going to sit out there? No, not till it's time. When I go out there, I sit on the floor. I bring out a mat and I sit on the mat. But we all, I'm a single parent running a business. I have people depending on me, and I'm not going to allow any of that small stuff to slow me down, So we make things up in our head that these are the things that have to be done, and it has to be like this, and everything has to be just right and just in place and all the time. And it really doesn't. We just created so that debt freedom and changing our mindset will give us a peace, that's why the word says that we're not supposed to. It says borrow or lender be, or, but I don't know the exact verse, but I know some of you know it. We're not supposed to be debt free. We're not supposed to be a slave. We're just not supposed to be a financial slave. So, and people talk about, I don't want to save because I don't want to be worshiping money. You sitting there stressing out over debt. That's worshiping money. People who don't worship money are the people who have saved, are relaxed, and they realize that the things that really matter in life, money can't even buy. So why the heck would you go into debt about it and kill yourself? Really, that's one way of looking at it. So that being in control of your spending. Let's make a commitment to it. I'm gonna figure out a way that if y'all think that it's a good idea, we can set up like Debt Freedom 2018, team, and we just do particular webinars just on Debt Freedom 2018. But I've been led to think that is something that we really need to address, and if you all agree, please send me an email or say it now, chat, say yes, let's do it. No, but I will definitely, me, I will make it happen. Or play this video over and over and over. I hope that it's motivating. These are the things that keep me on track. Life has not been no crystal stair for me either, but we gotta make sure that we take care of our staircase, because we gotta walk up it. So let's make it as stable as possible. So y'all have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you for sharing your time with me. And those are some key advantages of why we need to be debt free, because we want to be healthy. The 10th principle of AfroEconomics is to be healthy. And the 8th principle of AfroEconomics is credit confidence. So we want to have credit confidence so that we can be healthy. It is really sad how many illnesses money can create in our lives. I met a lady one time and her husband died, and she said, I had no idea how much he was stressing about money. She said she just found all these bills and that he was not paying and he couldn't pay, and he had never said anything to her. And he sat in the house and had a massive heart attack and died. So, we have to look out for each other. If you're married and it's not fair to say, I didn't know. I met one lady and her husband died of cancer in the hospital, and she came home and somebody gave her my name. She said that they were about to foreclose on her house and she had no idea. I said, well, wasn't the phone ringing? She said, well, he usually takes care of that. I said, but he's been terminally ill for months. Like, he can't do it. He cannot do it. She was like, oh, she really didn't get it. So let's be a team. If we're together, let's be together. Let's be a team and we can work this out. But we got to be on one accord. Y'all, I'm on one accord with you. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Mr. Murphy said, thank you for your insight. You're not positive. You're all so positive. No, but thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my thoughts with you. I will put this on YouTube and you can watch it and share it with your friends. And please subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. God bless y'all. Have a great one. And members, don't forget, Friday at 9 a.m. Members only, we're talking about year-end tax strategies. God bless y'all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Granage.